Hey guys, wanted to touch base with you and just kind of reminisce on the past. Some of the videos I've been making the last week or so, it's got me thinking about, about how things were when they started, and it feels like that is so far away, which is great in a lot of ways because I feel like I've got my life back, and yeah, there's still crap I have to deal with, but things are really heading on the right, down the right trajectory, so to speak. And it's not that I don't remember how difficult it was, but when you're first starting out on this, it's like every day is painful. Every moment is just, it's like difficult to find the energy or the strength to just move that one step forward. And a lot of times that pain that you're feeling is just so raw and so brutal that it just feels like it's never going to end. In my older videos, I used to talk about, finding the victories in the moment. That if you did something and you have a 5-minute window or a 2-minute window where you feel good, recognize that. Because I remember those days. I remember those days where it seemed like every day was crap. And then it's like I drift into a fog and kind of get a little bit of an escape of the nightmare, only for it to just drag me back down. But after time, those few minutes every so many days would turn into a few minutes every day, turn into 30 minutes on a more recurring basis, and then it just starts to grow. And you start to, kind of reconnect with your old self and kind of reconnect with a thought and the possibility that there's a future, that you can succeed in this and not be stuck in that mode or that feeling forever. Now, this isn't an easy time. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, this isn't something that happens over a week and you're like, wow, that was a rough week, but I got through it. It took me a long time. I mean, it took me a couple of years, and things got really dark before they started to get better. And I started really spiraling out of control the first couple of years. And when that happened, whenever because I kind of went up, right? I mean, it's like the divorce happened, and I started feeling better. I started feeling like this person had struck the blows and did the damage, and that I would be building up. And then I quickly realized that that's not how it works. Toxic people don't let go. If they see you moving on, they will do anything in their power to try to drag you back down, which is, I think most people experience that. And when that happened, it really knocked me on my butt. And through therapy with an outstanding trauma therapist, through research recommended by her, and just some of the things I found on my own, like reading books and stuff, that helped. Hypnosis helped, which I never in a million years thought that would have worked. I have a lot of this stuff that I used that helped me, that's listed on my dadsurvivingdivorce.com website. If you go dadsurvingdivorce.com/resources, you will find the books I'm talking about and the hypnosis files and stuff. And actually even a mean workbook that I worked on with, I helped Paul Calione on that. It's his product, but he asked for my input on some of it, so I had some input on that. And that whole thing is just to kind of help you go through a process to help you determine if you're dealing with a toxic person. Because so often in the early stages of this, we don't believe it. We don't see it. We don't want to believe it. But here's the thing. After all that time, after working on those things, and just to roll that clock back, when I was doing the therapy thing, we got to the point that we were going weekly. I was going weekly. I remember at one point it was getting so bad that I was like, well, can we, how much more can we do? I mean, because I don't feel like I'm making progress. I feel like I'm getting worse. Around that time, that was whenever I think it was around the time that my therapist said, I can't diagnose your ex. I've only talked to her once. I don't know. I'm not diagnosing her, but your reactions, what you're talking about, you appear to be somebody who has been the target of a toxic person, probably with narcissistic personality disorder, and let's start approaching it that way. Let's start working on the healing based on that. And I know I've told this story before, but I think it's important, so I'll just recap it right now. And that is that I went home. Let me back up. When she first said it to me, I actually kind of rolled my eyes and I was thinking, oh, give me a break. Really? Some other little topic that, oh, it might be this. And it kind of irritated me at first. And I drove the hour home, jumped on my computer, did a Google search, and it blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, the patterns of behavior that I was dealing with, that I was experiencing, were all enumerated in multiple sites. And from there, I mean, that was really the turning point. That was the first time I felt like I had some answers. But even with that, it didn't make everything go away, and it didn't make everything become super easy. I still had to put in the work. I still had to try different things to be able to work through this. And it was really tough. But my point is that you go through this phase where for a while you have no hope. You feel like your whole world has been ripped apart, which it has. I mean, don't get me wrong. You feel like there's no recovery on any aspect of it. You obviously feel like everything you've lost in that moment is, obliterated. And then you start dealing with the emotional side of it, which you've been obliterated in that way as well, and you feel like you're going to feel that way forever. You're going to feel like, well, how am I ever going to get over this? I mean, I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is like a chronic wound. I'm going to have this pain forever, and I just have to make my peace with it, which wasn't easy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to tell you, especially if you're in the early part of this. And for you folks who've been around a while, and maybe this is like an old recap, and maybe you're even listening, you're listening to me talk, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember those old videos. I remember being in that mode. Put some comments in, or put some your thoughts in the comments, because people read those, and when they see other people saying, yeah, exactly, that's exactly what happened. I was in this dark place, and I'm halfway through, or I'm 3/4 of the way through, or hey, I'm all the way through. Because you slowly start to get better. And then when you start to see successes, when you start to feel like you're getting your life back, it starts to build on itself. Now, just to be clear, hey, one, don't tell your ex, don't go out of your way to try to show them that you're doing better, because it's just not going to help. And also expect that if they think that you're moving on, or that you're getting better, or you're detaching from them, or you're purging them out of your mind, they will try anything and everything to try to get you to think about them, to try to get them back on your mind, to try to pull you back down in the pit of hell. I've seen, there's some old movies. I wish I could remember this one. There was this one where the bad guy's out there, and it's kind of this mystic creature, and everyone realizes that the only reason this person has power is because they focusing their energy on him, and everybody turns their back on this being. And what happens is it's screaming at him, no, look at me, believe in me, fear me, that type of thing. And then as everyone basically just turns their back and says, you don't exist anymore, it's like all the power goes away. And that's kind of how I feel like this happens. It's like they are trying to make sure you are connected with them, that you don't let them go, so to speak, that you keep giving them power. But you'll see that as time goes on, they have less and less and less. And there will come a time where they don't have any power over you anymore. I mean, obviously, it's easy to say when family court's over, but even before that, there'll come a time to where they'll focus their energies on you, and it won't work. They'll focus their energies on, your new relationship if you have one, and then it won't work. They'll focus their energies on the kids, and depending on what happens, that one can actually work for a while. But even then, you can get to the point that even if they're doing that, kind of this rolls into the video I made the other day about when you have to, when you get to the point that you've done everything you can, most of the time you can be pretty fortunate that you can repair those relationships and stop the destruction, so to speak. But even if it doesn't, you can get to the point that they no longer have the power over you. You'll be disappointed, for sure, but it's not going to be one of those things that's going to derail you like it used to before. And I think that's an important thing to remember. It's an important fact, an important reality that everyone needs to remember, is that this doesn't last forever. You change, you grow, you emotionally grow out of this, you heal, and you set up better boundaries. And as a result of that, the ability for toxic people, from your ex to co-workers to other family and friends, to have that negative influence on you just kind of dissipates, kind of filters away. I'm curious, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, this sounds like a pie in the sky dream, let me know in the comments below. I like to kind of gauge where everyone's at on this, and if you've been through this, again, like I mentioned before, comment on it in the video, because people who are really in the early parts of this, it'll help them to see that, other people who've been through this are now on the other side of it. It's kind of tough because with channels like mine, once people really heal from it, they don't really want to stick around anymore. They finally heal from it, and then to keep listening to this type of information is it doesn't really help them anymore. Some people do still hang around. So for those that are hanging around, help the other people out. And on that, I will catch you on the next video. Take care.